Hey, what's up, guys? How's everybody feeling? It's actually Friday right now, and I'm chilling in my basic room as always. But I actually come on here. I came on here today just to talk about all the shit that just be going on in the world. Everybody talks about the third eye or being in the matrix or being consciously aware, and I want to talk about all that, even with religion and everything. So, first of all, I feel like when it comes to the matrix, we are stuck in the matrix. We're stuck in a time right now where people say good energy and dark energy is happening. So when it comes to like cell phones, social media, AI, just everything that's distracting us from all the important stuff that's happening in the world. Just like when it comes to like all these wars, what's going on in the government, like everything is a system and we're playing in it. So like certain people always try to speak on it and things happen to them. So I know you got to be careful nowadays how you speak on these certain types of topics, even when it comes to eating healthy and being consciously aware of like what you consume inside your body, because they talk about drugs being man-made, alcohol man-made, everything to basically stop you from being consciously aware of yourself, and it all goes into us having God within, and them kind of holding us back from our potential. And it's crazy how people are waking up and they're staying woke on everything that just be happening. Sorry, my light, it keeps going off, but we're gonna keep going. I'm trying to charge it also. So excuse me if the light goes off. We're gonna keep continuing no matter what. So just like every event that's just been happening in the world, when it comes just to all those topics I'm talking about, even with finding God within, and we are a part of God, and I feel like God isn't with us when it comes to love. Every type of emotion, all the senses that we feel, the energy, like it all comes to play. But I feel like the Bible is a good way to show you what's good and bad and how to balance your life out. You know what I mean? And reading the book, you get certain types of stories to where his history always repeats itself, but you kind of have to break down and understand it in your own meaning, and even with life. But I feel like reading is really important, and that kind of got pushed away over generations. And the generation I'm in right now, it's kind of hard compared to over 30 years ago by now. But back then, I feel like everything was more revolutionary, to where people were like in the forefront and they were trying to expose everything that goes on. And there's still people like that, but it's too many more distractions when it comes to music, when it comes to entertainment, everything that we're watching on movies, TV. It's like they leave little hints and people break it down, and they try to dissect it to give it back to the audience, right? So that comes to everything when we talk about deaths and everybody who's been dying. Even me, when it comes to me being African American, just my culture and everything that we've been able to fulfill and be able to show as art, and we've been able to make businesses and change lives and be able to break generational curses. So I want to come on here and just talk about all that stuff, you know what I mean? And a lot of stuff like that doesn't happen because like all the leaders, things keep happening to them. And I don't want to come on here and have nobody coming after me, but I do want to be able to show that there is a difference, bro. And in the universe, and I feel like it is real. And even back then, like they try to erase history, but there's so much history that's not taught. And I feel like it has to be done. But definitely, when it comes to this matrix shit, I feel like it is real, and we are in a battle right now when it comes to good and bad energy and trying to balance it. And you having God within is basically you having temptations or urges to where you fight every single day when it comes to being on your phone, consuming social media, um trying to trend, trying to see and trying to fit into the lifestyle that you see on your phone. And that became so big, just like people going on vacation and showing it, or flashing money, smoking weed on there. And don't get me wrong, I smoke weed, but like just flexing it, and you know what I mean, trying to have that lifestyle that kind of breaks down your self-esteem, feeling like you're comparing your life to somebody else, and it's killing you inside. And that's what's happening. And just like with fear and everything, being scared to do things, or having consuming a lot of fear, and that's what comes into play also. So like that comes into play to everything I'm talking about being consciously aware. You have to be woke on everything that's going on, even with the food. Just eating bad and having a poor diet leads to all these different types of diseases, and cancer, and heart failure and everything. So like right now, it's like everything is just like a mixture of craziness. And I don't want to speak on certain things just because I decided to stay away from it. Just like with genders and all that, I don't really want to speak on it, only because I respect anybody's decision when it comes to that type of life, and it's not mine. So I feel like I have no right to speak on it. And even with having people in my life that are my friends that might have changed their path, so I try not to speak on it. The only thing I don't condone is when they try to show it to children. And when it comes to gender, sex, all that, just being exposed to children isn't right. And all the things that's just been happening around that, it's just pure evilness. So um, I feel like I'm glad that a lot of things are being exposed, and they're bringing brought to light, to where all the dark is coming. But you definitely have to protect yourself. I feel like not everybody's good, and you got to be careful what you see and what you hear. And that even comes to music. Just me being a very big hip hop fan, even with R&B, but me, being black, and listening to that stuff, I got to remember that it can still I can still consume that dark energy into me, and that's not good. You know what I mean? And even with the, like, being lustful and things like that, that comes into play also. Just everything you see when it comes to women showing their bodies, and just degrading them and everything, and how you speak towards women, like it all comes into play. Or even vice versa, how women speak down on men and just treat them like toys, whatever. Like it all is a balance. There's like a real war, and maybe you can't see it physically, but like we'll say like spiritually, that's what's happening, to where you might be stuck and might not feel like you have nothing to give or offer, or feel like you're not living to your full potential, or you might feel like you're depressed or you're low self-esteem. That all comes into play to everything I'm talking about right now. So I hope I'm making sense, and I'm being able to break things down in this system. But that's pretty much it. That's the fastest way I can put it when it comes to me talking about being consciously aware of everything that's going on in the world. Yeah. But I think the Bible is definitely, it breaks it down, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like I've read it and I can give you scriptures. I can't. Um, I need to read it myself, and I've read a little bit of the Genesis, and how God created the world, and how He basically put a breath in us, to where we're literally breathing. We're a breathing image of Him. You know what I mean? We come from the earth, so that's why I feel like eating healthy comes into play with that. Because like, if you there's a scripture in the beginning of Genesis, basically He's saying like our fruit is our meat, like that's our protein, that's what we're supposed to eat, you know. So I feel like we are connected to animals, and look how clean they eat. They just eat grass. um Gorillas basically just eat fucking leaves and bananas, and look how broad and built they are, muscular, you know what I mean? So it all comes into play. um I don't know. I just wanted to come on here and just chat about it. And like I said, I definitely want to do like a podcast thing, to where I'm being able to talk about different types of events that's happening in life. But I feel like this is a very important topic. Like everything that just be going on, just like um maybe you're not woke, or maybe you don't pay attention, but social media definitely has a lot of play, to where the generation is like breaking, and like AI is taking over, and it's becoming stronger. But like we just, our cell phones is like the internet's the biggest thing in the world, and that's how everybody gets their information. And it might be false information, or you got different people telling you different things, and you consume all this information, and it's all mixed now. It's just all opinions that just got thrown out there. So like we need to get back to the facts. We need to be able to get back to the facts and tell people what's going on. And you know what? The government might never do that. They're trying to keep us basically in a bottle in a cage. And it's hard to be able to come on here and talk about it, because people are scared or they feel like they might come get them. But I don't want that to be the case. I think that the system is great and we have to have a balance. Um, there shouldn't be a crazy control, but you have to be able to control and have a balance of good and bad. And that's what police come into play. Like laws, I feel like laws are overlooked, but laws are important because it balance out the good and the bad. It has to happen. But we're living in a time right now where everything is just crazy, and you got people that are very powerful up that are running things, and just ordinary people like me living our lives. Just like when it comes to working regular jobs, like the minimum wage is crazy how like you work so hard every single day just to pay your bills, and that's high. You go to the store just to buy food, that's high. You know what I mean? Um, and it's hard when you got children and you're trying to provide for yourself. I personally don't have kids, but I'm in a relationship. I have a woman, and like just me living as a single like person, you know what I mean? Just as a single adult, not having kids, not really married, not having like a whole family to provide for. It's still hard, like trying to pay for rent, trying to get necessities, hygiene, food, take care of my animals, like life, like the prices went up from when I was a kid, and I don't know what the lifestyle was back then. Growing up in the 2000s and all that, it's crazy how I feel like life was a little bit simpler, even with food and everything. Just like um think about it, like back then they used to make glass bottles of milk and they used to deliver it to your door, and that started to change to cartons, and they used to put the kids on the carton when they used to go missing and stuff, you know what I mean? And like things like that. And I feel like ingredients started to get added over time, just like with Gatorade. If you go back in the 80s and maybe early 90s, like they only used 4 ingredients, and now they put so much shit in it. Or even just like maybe McDonald's over time, I feel like it changed too. I feel like they just had simple ingredients and things start to change. They started to add it. So like that's what I'm coming home talking about, how this like over time shift evolve, just because I feel like everything's an experiment. So like over time, just like with the phone technology, TVs, radios, all that shit over time just became an experiment. And over time, they just kept advancing, advancing, advancing. But now I'm in a generation right now to where everything's so more advanced. You know what I mean? And I came out of high school at 2016, man. And even down to the election when Obama won, and when Obama won, bro, I was in elementary and middle school when he won, and people talk bad about everything he tried to do, and the first black man being president. You know what I mean? And after that, me getting into high school and finna graduate, it became Donald Trump next. And at first, I didn't think it was true. Like I'm thinking it's a joke. I'm thinking like a rich fucking billionaire is really finna run this country, and look what happened. And I feel like everything is an objective, but we definitely have to educate ourselves when it comes to things like that. And then we had Joe Biden, you know what I mean? And look how things shifted from COVID, and even with that, like even with COVID, like where the fuck did that come from? And it's just like even before that, we've had the Spanish flu, we've had Ebola. When it comes down to even sexual diseases, it's just like where did all this come from, and how many people are so affected? Because like this, like if you go back more than 200 years, 100 years, like a lot of stuff really wasn't happening. Maybe by like natural causes, just because, America was built, and, people got sick and they probably didn't have the right medicines and things like that. But over a course of time, it's just like, especially like colored people, I'm talking about that, but especially with like colored people, like diseases started popping up. So like that leads to everything still to this day. Like where are all these sicknesses coming from? And it's just like we went into a real global pandemic to where literally everything shut down, and I feel like that's what altered everything. And like us being people, like we just pay attention to the news, but it's all fake. Like it's all entertainment. Like these some stories are real and some stories don't get to don't don't make it to the public. The most important stories of what happened to people and how people go through these traumatic events, they don't really make it unless you put it on the internet. But like the news is scaring people and giving false information, and it all has to be talked about. And maybe I'm crazy for sitting here really talking and being able to vent how I feel. But I just feel like that's true. Like even with medicines and doctors, like they're giving us like they're basically killing us. You're going to the hospital buying pills and trying to basically, you know, get better, and they know that that's not the way. Then basically killing you and then making money off of that. That comes down. And think about children who might be born sick, and they're just killing them with different chemicals, or telling them that this and that, and they never get better and they never get to be out here and be normal like us. So like everything comes into play when I'm talking about. But like that's why right now I think it is important to try to work out, be healthy, try to eat decently clean, and if you can't, try to cook for yourself. That's the best way. At least make your own food, you know. um if you got land, or if you got somewhere to be able to grow like vegetables and stuff, I would say do that too, to where it's more natural, is coming from the earth, and you're not buying it from the store to where they're putting pesticides and they're spraying chemicals and they're doing things to it. Because that was happening too, to where you get a lot of false. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm closing my blinds. But you get a lot of false um, produce, to where not all of it's real. And Dr. Sebi talked about that. And rest in peace to one of the greats, one of the legends that kind of brought that to the forefront. That's my light again. Kind of brought that to the to attention. Like, a like if you eat right and you find the right things to consume, like you can cure your body, and you maybe not be immortal, but you can be able to live longer without everything in the world trying to kill you, when it comes to even taking a shower or brushing your teeth, putting different products in your hair. Like it all comes into play. And maybe I'm crazy, like I said, for sitting here giving this information, but I feel like it has to be done. And I feel like you have to be able to talk about it. Yeah. But I don't want nobody to be scared. I don't think I think that, like I said, that us as people in a population, we all go through experiments. So that's what happens. Like even back then, when the cell phone was created, or a light was created, like a train was created, or a car, whatever, a vehicle. Like we all have to go through experiments, be able to advance in life. And so technology just kind of just like the modern day world. Even me making content, coming on here, making YouTube videos and throwing them out, or going on Instagram and making reels and throwing them out. And I try to be positive, and I try to send a message and show people the good thing in life, to try to be happy, because that's what it's about at the end of the day, is just being happy. You know what I mean? But it's hard, bro. Like just trying to figure out what's going on. But I don't know. I'm just trying to come on here and educate y'all, and make sure that y'all are understanding just um how the cycle of life works. You know what I mean? And even back then, just um maybe they were more advanced, or maybe there's hidden messages that we're still trying to figure out, even when it comes to Egypt and all the drawings and all the pyramids, and trying to figure out why that's there, or why the desert dried out when it used to be have water in there. You know what I mean? And just figuring out what's the meaning of the pyramids, and you know just trying to dissect life. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Just being consciously aware, being woke, and just knowing what's going on, and especially right now in this time. and if you're young, if you watch this and you're young, just know that you have to be aware, and you have to be consciously aware, because our, like, the youth, we're the most important part. Like, the youth, our imaginations, our imaginations, our creativeness, like, they want to take that, especially when it comes to children, how they're pure, happy, like, they want to take that. They want to take that. So, like, it's important for us to be able to show the next generation that they can be able to save the, the other generations to come. So that's what it's mostly about. So I think it's important for the youth to be able to stay woke, and to be able to read and be educated on themselves and how to be healthy. So when we get older, we'll be able to still enjoy life, you know. But that's what it's about. Come on here and being able to spread the message that's been done so many times. And there's somebody else that sat here and been able to get the message across when it comes to any type of great. And a lot of them are gone, especially in Black culture. But like I said, it has to be done, and we have to talk about it. And I know I'm not the first one to come on here and speak on it, but I just wanted to kind of give my opinion and how I feel about it. You know what I mean? But I'm definitely gonna end the video right here. Hopefully y'all like it. Leave some comments if you want me to come on with another segment. I'm definitely trying to slowly start my way into podcasting. So if this video does good and I get some likes, maybe we can have another topic like this. But this is the most comfortable I've been on my phone ever, and I did this all in one take, and we're just gonna upload it and let it be, let it do its thing. But like and subscribe, and hopefully you tune in and you like my other videos. But it's all about lifestyle. It's all about getting right, having the right mindset. And then if you're right, your mindset's right, your spirit will be right, and then physically your body will be right. But you know don't give up, and just keep working hard, and wake up tomorrow and just attack it. Try to have a good day. Y'all all stay safe, stay blessed, and know that God is highly in our favor, and he's always there listening, and he'll get you through that jam, even when you feel like you go through tragic moments. Like, you don't let fear ever hold you back. Y'all have a good day. Peace.